Good day, class. So we will discuss our topic for today. So we are already on chapter 9. The lesson is all about planning the service delivery system. So for the learning objectives, at the end of the chapter, you will be able to plan, design, analyze, and check the hospitality organization service delivery system. You also learn you will also learn how to design a delivery system using several methods such as flow charting, blueprinting, the universal service map, and PERT CPM. And how to use fishbone analysis, Pokayokes, or Pokayokis, and other methods to locate the source of problems and prevent their occurrence or reoccurrence. And lastly, how to use a cross-functional organizational design to deliver a service product. So these are the learning objectives that you should be able to acquire at the end of our discussion. So let's begin. So first is, what is planning the service delivery system? So as we discussed in our previous lesson, it composed of three factors or components. These are the service settings. So when we say service setting, these are the well-designed environment. So as we discussed, these are the place or the environment where the products and services are being served or given to our guests and customers. So for example, in a restaurant, what's the ambience, the symbols, the artifacts of the restaurants? What's the theme? Is it a quick service restaurant? Is it a fine dining restaurant? Is the restaurant composed a lot of paintings, or it is a restaurant a minimalist? So that's what service setting is all about. This is where the products and services are being served to our guests and to our customer. Next is service product. So when we say service product, this is the tangible items that we offer to our guests to meet rather their needs and preferences. So for example, in an airline, what's their product? So the seats, the airline tickets, for hotel, the room or the accommodation, so on and so forth. Okay? And lastly, the service delivery. When we say service delivery, it is the employees or the people that are well trained and motivated who are serving and giving exceptional service and products to our guests. So meaning these are the tourism and hospitality professionals who works on a different sectors of the industry. Okay, so now when we say planning the service delivery, how are we going to deliver our services to our guests in order for us to exceed their expectation and give them the highest quality services and products that meets or exceed their needs and preferences. Okay, so moving forward, in the total quality management or in a service quality management, we have this word, the total quality movement. So when we say the total quality movement, it says that everyone is responsible for quality. So in an organization or in an business organization setting, hindi porket ikaw yung manager or ikaw yung supervisor or ikaw yung may-ari ng company, ikaw lang yung responsible doon sa quality ng mga products and services na ino-offer mo or binibigay mo doon sa mga guests and customers. Meaning, even though you are part of the rank and file, or you are a new entry employee, as long as you become part of the organization, you are already responsible for quality. So for example, you are hired as a front office assistant. You are a fresh graduate. And then someone asks you a question you are not still familiar with. So hindi mo pwedeng sabihin na, ma'am, sorry po, bago po kasi ako dito, or ma'am, sorry po, kakagraduate ko lang po kasi. So that's not an excuse in an organization, because the moment that the company hired you and the moment that you accepted their job offer, you are already responsible for the quality products and services that you are offering to your guests and customer. Okay, so that's how we define total quality movement. Everybody in an organization is part and responsible for delivering quality services and products to the guests. Okay? So what's the goal of the total quality movement? So the goal is fail no guest, delight every guest. So ibig sabihin, we should avoid that our guests become disappointed, mad, or complain to the products and services that we are giving to them. Instead, we have to delight them. We have to entice them. We have to make sure that the products and services that we are offering is at highest or most quality. Okay, so that's how total quality movement works. Okay, so any question? Okay, none. So moving forward, there are three phases of service delivery system that you need to understand in order for you to deliver a good service to your customer in the future. So phase 1 involved phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. So phase 1 involved planning the service delivery system. Second one is monitoring the service experience. And the last one is assessing the experience to improve the system. So let's discuss it one by one. First is phase 1, meaning planning the service delivery system. So how do we define planning the service delivery system? So based on its definition, it is a careful analysis and detailing of every step in the entire service delivery process that will make the difference between having it mostly right and reaching the level of excellence that the very best service organizations can deliver. So when we say phase 1, in a phase 1 level, para lang yung gumagawa tayo ng building, or when we are planning on something about our goals or about our aspirations. So in phase 1, you have to plan your service delivery system. You have to be very detailed. You have to create a proposal. You have to create a written document wherein you will put all the possible things that you think or that you imagine in terms of delivering your service. So you have to, what do you call this, be innovative and creative in doing your planning. So for example, you want to give an exceptional service to your guests. What's the first thing that you do in order for you to give exceptional quality with your guests? So first is you have to do your research. Ano ba yung mga needs and wants nila? Ano ba yung mga preferences nila? You have to identify ano ba yung market trends nowadays. Okay? What are the things that your competitors do? What are their strategies? What are their tactics, their movements in order for them to attract their customers and guests? Okay? This involves under phase 1. You have to plan everything. You have to research, you have to create feasibility study, so on and so forth. You have to do surveys, data gathering, and put it in a written document so that you can analyze the connection of each other. Okay? So, di ba kapag nagpaplano tayo, we do step-by-step procedure. Okay? So, especially when we are targeting our goal or our objective. So, you have to plan it first. Hindi pwedeng kapag sinabi natin, gusto ko maging exceptional yung quality na ibibigay ko sa guest or sa customer ko, but you are not planning. How are you going to do it if you do not have a blueprint, if you do not have a framework? Okay, that's why planning is important in service delivery system. Okay, next is under planning, we have these things that we need to consider. Okay, so the first one is service standards. So under service standards, these are the company's expectations for how the different aspects of the service experience should be delivered every time to a guest. So kailangan mong planuhin, ano ba yung level of your services? ano ba yung service standards na dapat mong i-offer sa guest? So, for example, you are a 5-star hotel. So, ano ba dapat yung expectations ng guests when they arrive inside your 5-star hotel or organization? That's how service standards works. These are the parameters, these are the measurements that you need to follow in order for the guests to persuade the products and services that you are offering. Okay? So, these are your company's expectations. Okay? Na dapat, ito yung standard natin. When the guest enters the room, what will you do? Are you going to snub the guest? Or the service standards that you will impose is you're going to greet the guest with a full smiling face and you will bow, or you will greet them mabuhay as part of your greetings. So, that's how service standards work. Now, what are the criteria for a service standards? Okay, in the future, when you become part of an organization and you are going to create a service standards for your team, these are the criteria that you should follow. So, according to study, it should be under SMART. So, I believe you are all familiar in this acronym SMART. Lagi natin tong naririnig when it comes to planning. So when we say SMART, it stands for S for specific, M for measurable, A for attainable, R for relevant, and T for time bound. So when we say specific, kailangan nakafocus ka, ano ba talaga yung gusto mong maging service standards? For example, one of your service standard to be specific is you have to answer telephone calls from your guests. That should be specific. Kailangan mong sagutin yung tawag kapag nag-ring yung telepono. Measurable, meaning, how are you going to make sure that you are offering good quality service to your guests when answering telephone? So, dapat 2 to 3 rings lang, sinasagot mo na yung telephone. That's measurable because meron kang quantity. You can quantify, you can count it, you can measure it. So, 2 to 3 rings or within 2 to 3 rings, you can answer or you answer the telephone. Next is attainable. So, kaya bang sagutin yung telephone rings within 2 to 3 rings? Yes or no? Yes. Okay, it is attainable because it is very simple na kapag tumunog yung telepono mo dyan, okay, you will answer it within 2 to 3 rings, then it is attainable. Next is relevant ba siya? Pasok ba siya doon sa service standard or doon sa standard operating procedure when you are working in a front office department? Yes, because part of your job or your role as front office agent is to answer telephone calls. That's why it is relevant for you to answer telephone calls as part of your duty. And lastly, time bound. Is it achievable in a short period of time? Yes or no? Ay, hindi po ma'am. Kapag nag-ring po yung telephone, next week ko pa po sasagutin. Okay? That's how we call time bound. Is it a short term or is it a long term? Okay, that's how service standards work. Okay, it should be SMART, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. Now, these are some of the example of the externally developed standards. Meaning, ito yung mga standards where we can get outside of our organization. So most of the company or almost all of the companies are getting these standards in order for them to be identified as organization who are giving quality or highest services to their guests. So certifications. Okay, we can get certifications outside. There are also other organizations who are offering accreditations and recognitions. So some of the example of certifications in the industry, in the tourism and hospitality industry, are the following. So first one is the National Institute of Standards and Technologies Malcolm Baldrige Award and ISO 9000 2008. Okay, so next is meron din tayong Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. Mostly ito, these are some of the certifications getting by the hotels, okay, especially in terms of their standard operating procedures. Green Lodging, Big Green, Six Sigma Black Belt Quality Certification. The first 4 certifications are being awarded to the organization. And the last certification from this Scholar Violet up to the last, these are certification given to individual employees of the organization. Okay, so the Six Sigma Black Belt Quality Certification. We also have National Restaurant Association Serve Safe Food Safety Manager. We also have the HACCP, especially for those who are working in the kitchen, okay, or in the F&B, the Hazardous Analysis and Critical Control Point. Okay, so these are some of the example of certifications that the organization and the individual employees are into so that they can enhance the quality services that they can offer to their guests. Next is accreditation. What are some of the accreditations that we can acquire as part of our plannings? So first is we can get this Destination Management Accreditation Program initiated by the Destination Marketing Association International. So this focuses in the tourism attractions and destinations. Okay? So meron din tayo yung IATA, the International Air Transport Association. They are They are offering accreditations from different airlines of the world, okay, na gustong magpa-accredit and become part of the organization and access the programs and trainings given by IATA. And also we have the accreditation for travel agents and International Cruise Council of Australia Cruise Accreditation Program. So these are some of the example of accreditations. Next is phase 2. So we are done with the planning. You already acquired accreditation, you already acquired certification, you already have recognitions from the prestigious award-giving body. Now, under the phase 2, you have to monitor the service experience. Those techniques, strategies that you are implementing in your organization when it comes to delivery system, you also have to monitor this or you have to also monitor that. Hindi pwedeng kapag in-implement mo siya, ay okay na yan, hayaan na natin. Kung magpa-fly man, edi mag-fly. Kung hindi, edi hayaan na natin. So, hindi yun pwede. As part of the organization, you are responsible to monitor the service experience. Okay ba siya? Effective ba siya when it comes to delivering your system to your guests or to your customer, or hindi siya ganun ka-effective, failing siya, hindi nag-i-increase yung inyong revenue, hindi nag-i-increase yung inyong customer satisfaction, so on and so forth. So under the phase 2 class, you can't manage what you don't measure. Ibig sabihin, pag nag-impose kayo ng strategy or ng tactics for your organization, it should be measurable. Okay? It should be quantifiable. Nabibilang nyo siya. Meron kayong basis. So, for example, in a hotel, you implement that the housekeeping department should clean 10 rooms per housekeeper. Okay? That's your standards. Per housekeeper, kailangan 10 yung room na malilinis niya sa loob ng 8 hours. Meaning, when a housekeeper clean a room for 8 hours, kunyari, in 8 hours, ang nalilinis ng isang housekeeper ay 6 lang. Hindi na-reach yung 10. Then, meaning, there's a problem with your processes or with your delivery system. But if a housekeeper can clean 10 rooms or more than for 8 hours, then meaning your strategy are effective because they can reach the indicator or the measurement that you impose. Okay? Next. Organization should measure the quality of service delivery against service standards whenever possible. So, ayun nga, as mentioned, when you are setting your service standard, then it should be monitored. It should be measured. Okay? Next. So, you have to set KPIs or the key performance indicators. That's why when you enter in an organization, hindi pwedeng work ka lang. Meron tayong tinatawag na KPI or meron kayong target. Kasi yun yung ginagamit nila para i-monitor yung performance nyo. Upon bago kayo ma-regular within 6 months, yun yung tinitingnan. Ito ba, na-achieve niya ba ito? Ang nakalagay sa KPI niya, kailangan niyang makapag-produce ng, what you call this, 10 hours of training within 6 months. Next is, kailangan niya makareceive ng 2 commendations from the customer. Another one is, kailangan wala siyang late within the first 3 months of his duty or her duty. That's the key performance indicators. That's the parameters that the organization is using to measure the performance of the employees of the company so that they can monitor if the actions and the service experience is being delivered according to the standards and parameter set by the organization. Okay? Do you have a question? None. Okay. Moving forward, last but not the least is assessing the experience to improve the system. So, while you monitor the actions, the strategies that you are imposing to your organization, at the same time, you have to assess. Okay, you have to check if those experiences are effective or not. I-identify nyo lang, is it effective or is it not? Is it need to be revised? Is it need to be changed? Or is it need to be rejected? And plan again. Okay? So, both management and employees have the information needed to redesign the system and fix the problem to yield continuing improvement in the guest experience. If there is wrong or there is a challenge or problem being encountered in the operations, then it should be fixed or it should be rejected. Okay? Next is the overall health of the business is a good indicator of whether guest service quality is where it should be. So, that's why we have to set parameters so that we can check if the business is thriving or if the organization is flying. Because for example, peak season, summer, at your hotel. So, given na dapat marami kayong guests. But as you can see, kahit summer, iilan lang yung guests nyo. So, meaning, there's a loophole. There's a problem. Okay? That needs to be fixed, revised, or reject. And, dun papasok yung assessment. Okay? Once you assess, is it effective? If effective, then continue. Improve it, enhance it, develop it so that it will become more sustainable. Okay? If it's not effective, you will decide, are you going to revise it? Meron lang bang mali dun sa procedure? Or are you going to reject it? Hindi talaga siya applicable doon sa system nyo or doon sa operations nyo. Okay? Next is the phases of service delivery. So just for you to see the summary. So, these are the summary of the phases. Before the guest experience, what will you do? During the guest experience, what will you do? And after the guest experience, what will you do? Okay? Now, what are the planning techniques that you should learn in order for you to deliver a good planning service delivery system? So, I just want to pause for a minute. Okay, so planning techniques, these are those: blueprinting, fishbone analysis, PERT, and CPM. Actually, there are a lot of planning techniques that you can consider, but I will just show you these 3 planning techniques because these are the most used techniques in planning the service delivery system. First one is blueprinting. So when we say blueprinting, it is the most discussed type of service. Diagramming is blueprinting. So blueprinting is a guide for making something. It is a design or pattern that can be followed. So in a simple term or discussion, ito yung inyong map. Okay, ito, parang pag gumagawa tayo ng bahay, di ba? Or nagpapagawa tayo ng bahay, merong blueprint. Ibig sabihin, ito yung plano ng gagawin yung bahay. These are the measurements, ilang story, ilang rooms, so on and so forth. Okay? Same with your planning techniques in terms of delivery system. You have to create your blueprint para meron kayong pattern or meron kayong guide. Ano ba yung susundin niyo? O nasaan na ba tayo? Saan tayo mag-start? Okay? And then after we do this, what's next? So on and so forth. Okay? So meron kayong guide. So blueprint has 5 parts. The first one is the physical evidence. When we say physical evidence, these are the tangible physical parts of the service experience that can impact your service delivery system. Okay, so for example, ng physical evidence, these are the, for example, machines, the equipments, the tools that you are using when you are delivering your services to your guests. Next is customer assessment of quality and value. You have to discuss, or you have to identify the preferences, the needs, and the wants of your guests based on their preferred value and quality. Okay? Next is customer actions. Ano ba yung mga behavior ng customer when they are availing a certain services? Okay? So, kailangan you also have to identify those. Next is on-stage visible contact employee action. So, things that customer contact employees do as part of the face-to-face encounter. So, when you are dealing with customers, how do you act? How's your behavior? Are you pleasant? Are you mad? Are you welcoming? Okay? Or you are turning away the customer because you are having a bad attitude or having a bad actions. Okay? Next is backstage naman or non-visible. So, ito naman yung mga part ng mga backstage department. So, how do you do your actions at the back of your customer? So, when you are answering telephone calls, are you still pleasant even though you are not face-to-face with your guests? So on and so forth. Next is support processes. So, back-end din to. When we say support processes, for example, your HR, are they releasing your payroll on time? Do they give you enough benefits so that you are motivated to work well and functions well based on your roles and responsibilities? Does your information technology department acts quickly when you are asking for their helps because some of the systems are down or not working? So that supports processes. So this is the example of the blueprinting. Okay, so mas pinadali ko na siya. This is an example under a hotel setting so that you can see it more simple. So when we say physical element or physical evidence, ito nga as mentioned, yung mga elevators, room, amenities, the employees' uniforms, elevators, any equipment, tools, and machines that you are using in order for you to give service delivery to your guests. Customer actions. Kaya ano ba yung mga ginagawa ng customer natin when they are availing a room in a hotel? So they make reservation, they do check-in, check-out, so on and so forth. On stage, visible contact action. So you greet, you remove their bags, you give their key card, you process their check-ins, you process their car loading baggages. Yung backstage naman, so you record room for your guests via telephone call, so on and so forth. And your support processes, the reservation system, the computer system that you are using when you are communicating with your guests. Okay? Next is the fishbone analysis. So, fishbone diagram is a visualization tool for categorizing the potential causes of the problem. Ibig sabihin, di ba yung fishbone, para yung mga tinik niya, meron siyang sangay-sangay. Okay? So, sa fishbone analysis, we synthesize. Okay? Hinihiwalay-hiwalay natin, hinihimay natin yung mga possible causes of a problem. Okay? Ano ba yung mga posibleng maging dahilan ng problema sa isang organization. So, other term for fishbone analysis is the Ishikawa diagram. Okay? I will give you an example. So, this is an example of a fishbone analysis in an airline setting. So, ang problem dito ay delayed flight departure. Hindi pa nakakaalis yung eroplano. So, what do you think are the problem or what are the causes of the problem? So, iisa-isahin nyo siya. Hihimay-himayin nyo siya. So, for example, ang cause ng delayed flight is personnel. So, anong dahilan? Bakit personnel ang cause ng delayed flight? Una, hindi marunong mag-process yung ticket agent. Mabagal. Another, kukunti yung mga agents. Hindi sila na-train, unmotivated sila or undermotivated sila, so on and so forth. Another problem is procedure. So, ano kaya ang dahilan ng pagkadali ng flight based on procedure? So, ang daming late na passenger. Okay, late dumating yung connecting flights. O kaya ay delayed yung mga boarding passengers. Another one is overbook yung flight, so on and so forth. So, that's how fishbone analysis is working. Hihimay-himayin nyo, ano ba yung mga dahilan ng problema? Okay? Next is PERT or CPM. So, what does it mean? So, PERT CPM is a planning technique. It is frequently used in the construction industry and military. But for the sake of discussion, I will also discuss it with you. So it has many points of application din kasi under the hospitality industry. So PERT stands for Program Evaluation Review Technique, while CPM is Critical Path Method. Okay? So, what are the steps in the PERT CPM process? So, the first one is you have to identify the activities that you need to be complete or that needs to be done. Okay? Ano ba yung mga bagay na kailangan mong tapusin or gawin? Or ano yung mga project na kailangan mong kompletuhin? After that, you determine the sequence of activities. So, for example, I need to create a telephone manual for front office services. So, that's your project. Now, you have to determine the sequence of activities. So, how are you going to do it? Where are you going to start? When are you going to do it? How are you going to do it? So, you discuss the sequence of activities. Next is estimating how long each activity will take. So, for example, ang page 1 ng telephone manual na gagawin mo is introduction. So, gaano mo siya katagal magagawa? Can you do it in 1 hour, in a day, in a week, so on and so forth. Next is creating and diagramming the network of activities. So, when we say diagram, as we mentioned, you create a blueprint. So, paano mo ba siya gagawin? So, ano yung table of contents? You create a table of contents of your telephone manual. So, what will be the first? What will be the second? The third? The fourth? So on and so forth. And lastly, you find the critical path. When we say find the critical path, what are the possible problems that you can encounter when you are doing this project? Okay? So, step 1, let's explain it and elaborate it much more. So, step 1 is activity event analysis. So, you have to know or define all the projects or objectives that you need to complete. And then, activity 2, so you create a sequence. Okay, once the manager has defined the activities and events, so this can be placed in a proper sequence. You have to develop chronologically. Okay, kailangan sunod-sunod siya kasi ang hirap namang gumawa ng isang proyekto na hindi siya sunod-sunod because if you arrange it chronologically, then you are making it more easy for you and efficient for you to do it on a step-by-step basis. Step 3, so as I mentioned, you create a timeline. You you put it in a calendar, you identify how long or how short the deadlines that you can impose in order for you to complete a certain project. So you have to calculate it. For example, so as mentioned nga, you're going to create a telephone manual. Hindi pwedeng, okay, sige, gagawa ko ng telephone manual. And then when the manager asks you, so when can I follow up the telephone manual? When is the best time that you can finish it, or how long you can finish it? Hindi mo pwedeng sabihin, basta ako na po bahala. Or, hindi ko po alam. Basta tatapusin ko po siya. So, hindi pwede. You should set a deadline, you should create a timeline. Okay? Because if it's, as mentioned, dapat smart siya. It should be measurable, it should be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. Next is diagramming the project. So, as mentioned, you have to create a blueprint para meron kang guide. Meron kang framework or meron kang sinusundan. O, nasaan na ba ako? Nasa step 1 na ba ako? Nasa step 2 na ako? After the step 2, anong next step na gagawin ko? So on and so forth. Kaya hindi ka maliligaw because you already have a mapping or you already have a diagram. You already have a blueprint. Next is you identify the critical path. When we say identify the critical path, what are the things that you can encounter that do you think it will become a hindrance, a challenge, or an obstacle for you to finish the project? Or what are the possible causes that this project will fail? So you also have to identify that so that you can prevent those causes. Okay? So this is an example of a PERT or CPM charts step that you need to see. This is an example of an annual convention or an event. Okay, so according to its legend, critical path, when we say critical path, malapit na yung event. So what will you do? Ibig sabihin, cramming na to. Konti na lang yung time nyo to finalize everything. Okay, activity, so these are the arrows, the black arrows that you need to do. Yung number 1 is your most event on critical path, yung start. Okay, when we say start, syempre you're going to do planning. Critical path siya. Why? Kasi sa start, you have to brainstorm, you have to analyze everything, you have to do research, so on and so forth. Yung mga blue naman, yun naman yung mga event not on a critical path. Why? Okay, because it is already set, you already identified this. All you need to do is polish, make sure that everything is its right place, everything is on set, so on and so forth. And that's the end of our discussion. Do you have any questions, clarifications? None? Alright, so thank you very much for listening and I'll see you next discussions. Bye everyone!